Hello everyone, my name is Blister, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Classic WoW again. Today we're going to be talking about the leveling experience in Classic WoW. This isn't going to be a guide to how you can level quickly, although a lot of the tips I'll be providing will certainly help with that. But it's more of a list of tips of how you can help yourself to better enjoy your experience while you're leveling up in Classic WoW, because the leveling experience is a huge part of the game. First up, bags. Nothing is worse than only having your base backpack and having to toss items or go to a vendor every 20 minutes. Try and get bags as early as possible. If you're making any sort of cash while leveling, I urge you to spend it on bags before anything else. It will greatly increase your enjoyment out of the game. Second thing I wanted to talk about is the auction house. I know I just said to buy bags as soon as you can, but try to avoid using the auction house to buy items as much as possible. Getting your mount at level 40 is going to be very, very important, and if you're constantly going to the auction house to buy a green item every 4 levels, then you're not going to have the gold you need once you hit level 40. Of course, you're also going to have to worry about getting your mount at level 60, which costs a hell of a lot more than your level 40 mount. Of course, you do want to use the auction house to sell items. If you're leveling up with 2 gathering professions, you will want to frequent the auction house and make sure you throw your stuff up on the auction house. Because like I said, getting your level 40 mount and getting bags are extremely important. Next item on the list are potions. I know I just talked about don't spend money at the auction house, but potions are often very overlooked, and it can be the difference between having to spend 20 minutes on a quest and 10 minutes on a quest. I know when I first started playing, potions were never a main concern for me, but as I played more and as I figured out how important they are, that combined with first aid helps tremendously while you're leveling up. Like I said, you can go from having a 20-minute quest to having a 10-minute quest because you didn't have to run back from that one extra mob you aggroed killing you. And just as a little side note about potions, remember they can actually crit, so you could have a potion that actually heals you for your entire health. Stat pots are also a huge benefit. Giving yourself armor, agility, health per 5, all those kind of bonuses are actually really helpful while you're leveling up. The same can be said for food. You want to make sure that you're getting food that can buff you. Specifically stamina, that's what's going to really help you the most. Like I said, in case you aggro 1 or 2 extra mobs, you're not going to have to worry about it. Buffs from other players are also really, really important. It's not so much a requirement, but if you're playing a class that can, like if you're playing a priest and you see somebody just running down the road, be a good guy, just throw them a stamina buff. Same can be said for mages. I mean, just do it. It helps out a lot. Professions are also something else that you want to consider while you're leveling up. Crafters can actually help craft your gear as you're leveling up. And because your items from quest rewards are so far and few between, that actually using your profession to craft you a green or a blue every once in a while is going to be very helpful as you're leveling up. If you want to go that route, make sure you get a mixture of 1 gathering and 1 crafting profession as you make your treadmill all the way up to 60. Having a crafting and gathering profession will also help you avoid the auction house, because instead of having to go replace those legs that are 20 levels too low for you, you can actually just go and farm a couple of leathers and craft your own legs. It helps you save up extra gold for when you hit level 40 to unlock that mount. If you decide to go the route of double gathering professions, you're going to need to make sure you're picking up everything you can. Don't feel bad about going out of your way to pick up that extra herb or go pick up that extra mining node, because it's going to help you out in the long run. Because as soon as you get to a place where you're too high of a level to get experience from where you need to go farm the mining nodes and the herbs, it's going to be a bad time. You're not going to enjoy yourself much. So doing both at the same time is going to give you a much better experience. If you do end up going enchanting, you can definitely enchant your own gear, but it's not necessarily going to help you nearly as much as a crafting profession would. And also you have to remember that enchanters didn't have scrolls like they do now back in Classic WoW. So if you're trying to level up by just constantly putting a +2 stamina on your bracers, you're either going to have to continuously overwrite your own enchant on your own bracers, or you're going to have to spam trade chat to enchant other players' bracers. First aid. First aid is very important no matter what class you're playing. Don't assume because you decided that you were going to go Holy Priest or Resto Druid that you don't need first aid. When you run out of mana, you're going to wish you had that first aid, especially when you get into raids. A lot of guilds actually require you to have first aid maxed out. I know when I was playing, they wouldn't accept people that didn't have first aid. Don't be afraid to group up with people. Grouping up is a huge part of what Blizzard tried to do with this game back when it was first released. There is so much content where it requires a group of players. Maybe not a full party of 5, maybe just 3, sometimes even 2 players. But don't be afraid to look in the local chat for other players who are doing the same quest. Even if it's not a hard quest, one extra person can make a somewhat frustrating quest into something a lot more fun and enjoyable. And you never know, you might find a new friend and you guys might end up leveling all the way up to 60 together. Another huge part of the leveling experience is just going out and exploring. Now I know if you've played Classic before or you've played any WoW previous to Cataclysm, a lot of the exploration has already been taken out. But I urge you to explore early and as often as you can. There are so many little things that you can find in the world that aren't in current WoW. Think of it this way. In Classic WoW, we have over 40 quote-unquote new zones to explore compared to the 5 to 6 that we get with every expansion. There are zones that are entirely built for the enemy faction. There are even dungeons in those locations. Both Stormwind and Orgrimmar have their own dungeons. Now, those are still there today, but you get my point. You won't be disappointed going to an area that your quest doesn't require you to go to because it's going to bring you loads of fun. A lot of times you might even find a quest that you didn't even know about. Herbalists and miners will often find nodes in these remote locations as well, which will definitely help you in the long run. Something else that's very beneficial about just going out and exploring is that you'll be able to just get a bunch of extra XP, because until you get your mount, you just want to kill everything in your path. I mean, it might take an extra 5-10 minutes to do a quest, but you're going to get a lot of an extra XP doing that. And because of every once in a while, you will just have to farm out a level or two. Maybe not a lot, maybe just a half a level. It's, okay, I can farm out a half a level by staying here, or I can travel to the other continent and go to this other place, which would take a half an hour to get to do a couple quests to level up. Sometimes it's just more beneficial to grind out that half a level. So, you can usually avoid having to do that if you just kill everything in your path. Something else that I probably don't have to mention because a lot of people will think about it, but add-ons. Add-ons were not as common in Classic WoW. Yes, there were a couple for raid encounters and threat meters and DPS meters, but we have come a long way since then, so make sure you figure out what add-ons that you're going to want to get. Hint, you're going to want a threat meter. DPS meters are great too, but you definitely want a threat meter because threat was a real legit issue in Classic WoW. Dungeons are something that you need to carefully consider while you're leveling up. Avoid going too far out of the way for a dungeon that you don't really need. There are times when you will want to do a dungeon as part of the exploration that is driving you to do it, but if you're interested in leveling efficiently, going to the Dead Mines as a Horde player is not the best idea. That being said, quests for dungeons can give some really good quest rewards, so don't be afraid to run it at least once to get that item before you go back on your questing. If you've only played WoW recently, something that you're not going to realize is that you have to go and actually purchase your skills as you level up. So don't forget that every time you level up 2 levels, so every other level, you should go back to your trainer, because not only will they have new skills for you, but they will likely have a quest for you every 5 to 10 levels as well, which can give you more skills. I've talked about this a couple times, but another huge tip, get your level 40 mount as soon as possible. Part of the reason why I stress the importance of killing as much as you can and gathering as much as you can before you hit level 40 is because walking slowly for 40 levels can get cumbersome. But once you hit level 40 and you can mount up, you're going to notice a huge progression in your increase in productivity. You'll be happy you didn't waste the 5 gold on that new weapon when you were level 20. The last tip that I want to give is just help each other out. I know that a lot of people who are going to play Classic have already played it before, or they know what it's all about and they know what they need to do. But there are going to be those people who have no idea what they're doing. Help them out. Show them that this community that they all thought was extremely toxic isn't that. That we can go out of our way to help the lowbie, to help the newbie, and we can make them have an enjoyable experience. Sure, you will get the occasional scumbag from time to time, but the glory about Classic was that it was a new experience for everyone, and everyone was willing to help each other out. Whether if it was to throw out a heal to someone who accidentally pulled one too many mobs, or to craft an item for someone, or give away free enchants. The community was a much more friendly atmosphere. If we want to remember Classic for all its glory and be able to relive those days, we have to treat it like we did when we first played it. This will be the hardest thing to do considering how many quote-unquote new players we will have in the game who are only used to the way WoW plays now, but hopefully we can bring back the community that we all love so much. That's all I got for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments what are your tips for leveling up in Classic WoW. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey, it's Radit here. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe as well. It really helps out the channel. We put out multiple new videos each week and we appreciate all of your support. Thanks for watching, everyone, and cheers.